Do Macs get viruses? Are Macs vulnerable to attacks? Or is it just a Windows thing? You know what? The truth may actually scare you a little bit. And spoiler alert, yes, Macs do get viruses. And we'll be talking about that. And we'll be giving you some ideas about how you can make sure that your Mac is protected. Because you know what? Back in the day, 10, 20 years ago, you could say with a little bit more confidence, look, Macs don't get as many viruses as Windows. And even early on, Macs didn't get viruses almost at all. But things are changing. We don't want that to happen to you. And we run a channel here all about macOS security. So why don't you click on that subscription button? Click on the bell. That way you are notified when we release new videos. I'm going to let you know. First and foremost, we have a great piece of software called Moonlock, a great way to make sure that your Mac is protected from malware, from viruses. This will essentially scan your entire computer and ensure that your Mac is staying safer for longer. It'll remove anything that is malicious, any malware, any viruses that are on there, and it'll always be scanning your Mac in the background to make sure that you're always safe. You can download this piece of software completely for free from our website for 7 days. Try it. You can then go and buy it if you love it. Use our YouTube 10 code, throw that into the coupon area, and that way you get a discount to make sure that you are safer for longer. So, you know, a long time ago, people used to say, look, the Mac doesn't get viruses. It does not get viruses. You know, if you buy a Mac, you're going to be a lot more safe than the Windows counterpart. And to an extent, if you're talking about years and years and years and years ago, that was sort of the case. It's historical. You know, back in the day, people said the Macs don't get viruses. And a lot of this came back to market share. All right. There wasn't a financial monetary benefit for bad people to go and get Macs infected, right? Because ultimately, what does a bad person want to do? Somebody who's a hacker, somebody who wants to get into somebody's computer, they want to steal data, they want to cause havoc, and they want to ultimately get some money and revenge or whatever it is, right? Whatever their crazy reasons are. But here's the reality. That used to be the case because Windows was the big player. Microsoft Windows was the biggest by far. So there's no point in attacking the Macs because there's not many people using the Macs. So a lot of these attacks were focused on Windows. But now because the Apple ecosystem has become so much more popular, especially since, of course, the iPod and then the iPhone, the iPads, all of these have made people go, hey, these Apple products are pretty good. Let's check out their computers. And now they've started buying a lot more Mac computers, which means it's a lot more enticing now for people to be building malicious code for the Mac ecosystem. So it's no longer a theory. Attackers are going to be following the money. There are a few real threats that you really need to be aware of to make sure that you are protected, right? And here's a few of them. The first one is called AMOS, or Atomic macOS Stealer. This one essentially is made to target macOS specifically. It's not built for Windows and the Mac, it's just for the Mac. Its purpose is to go and steal browser credentials, to steal your passwords. That's not good. And with this one, unfortunately, it was literally a social engineering thing, not an exploit. Victims were tricked via fake ads and support pages into copying and pasting a single command into the terminal and essentially infecting themselves. It was quite full on. And then once it was installed, the malware started stealing a whole bunch of stuff. Passwords, browser data, crypto wallets, personal files were quietly exfiltrated to attackers' servers. It was tragic. But the biggest lesson right here is trust and convenience are the weakest link. People, unfortunately, do trust people. And that's a great human characteristic, to trust people. They're out to get you. And then people can be duped into this. There's also the Mac-C stealer and the Banshee stealer. So macOS malware is growing year on year. As the Mac continues to build market share, I mean, Apple is one of the most valuable companies now in the world. So the Mac usage is only going to go up. So some of the biggest threats right now are info stealers, things that are going to go and steal information, password stealers, password theft is never going away. Adware, spyware, and fake apps. And how does this generally get into computers? Well, there's a few ways. One is malware is just going to come embedded into an app that looks legitimate. It's going to get itself installed. People clicking on links through emails that they shouldn't have. It then downloads something maliciously. This is also done through social engineering. You get an email, it looks legitimate. They have socially tricked you into installing something. Or somebody calls you up on the phone saying, hi, we are calling from Apple and we've noticed that your computer is running slow and we want to help you out. And then through a process of social engineering, they convince you to go and download or install some software on your computer that then is malicious. And then the effects of this is slow computers, computers that are running hot, pop-ups, weird behavior that's just happening on your Mac. You've also got screencast, where it's actually checking your screen, key loggers to see what things are being input, and it's just tracking your overall activity, learning about how you do stuff on your Mac, and then it sends it to somebody else, or somebody's actually looking at your screen, looking through your webcam. This is scary stuff. The scary stat right now, and this is only going to go up, but 66% of macOS computers have been victims of threats, of attacks directly. You're finding this increasing. There was a 67% increase in backdoor malware and 17% rise in stealer variants. And this just wasn't in one country. It spanned 80 different countries. It doesn't matter where you are. And the crazy thing is, there's this thing that's been happening more and more. If you've ever heard of SaaS, software as a service, or IaaS, or infrastructure as a service, right? These are great services, but now there's MaaS or malware as a service, where there's now a thing where you can actually have people working on malware as a service services. It's quite scary, and it's only increasing. It's only increasing more and more. And then you've got the continuing growing trend of AI and the ability for people, bad people, to now use AI tools to build malware, specifically for the Mac. So malware does exist, and you need to be aware and you need to stay protected. We have some software that will ensure that your Mac stays protected called Moonlock. Download it, as I said. You need to download it, right? It's completely for free. I mean, you've got nothing to lose. Download it for 7 days and then scan it across your Mac. Run it in the background to make sure that your Mac is free from malware, free from viruses, and then go and pick it up using the YouTube 10 code so that you are staying protected for longer. We don't want your Mac to be infected, to be vulnerable to these attacks. It's not going away, it's only going to increase. You need to stay protected. And because of that, we also release lots of other videos on the topic of macOS security. So you need to make sure that your Mac remains secure. Click on that subscription button, click on the bell. That way you're notified when we release new videos on the Mac. Watch them, put those things into practice, that you will stay safe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on the next video.